Morning. My name is Tim Gifford. I represent Group 5. We are doing a gate check presentation here for a LAN party. We are hoping that you, the board, will give us the opportunity to move into the execution phase of our project. The idea behind the LAN party, as you know, is a bring your own device event where a bunch of high schoolers will bring their computers and laptops to the high school and we'll hook them up in a network and they'll play some games with each other. This serves as a testing environment for the interns so that they can pass their internship. So, first thing we've done here is we've put together a work breakdown structure to make it easy to determine which events need to be done in what order. This delegates it all to our team members so that they know what they're doing. We have this forum supervised by a qualified specialist. We have an engineer on our team who can look through this and to make sure it's actually working in order to make sure the event is a success. And we've been able to define a Gantt chart from it. This is the Gantt chart that we've created with the WBS. Our project's a little different because our date is actually set. We're going to shoot for the 30th of December to hold the event. This way, the students are out of school and they won't be having to fight with school and session in order to get the event running. We've determined which things kind of depend on each other and which things kind of need to happen in order for this to work out. But fortunately, in all reality, we have a lot of time in order to make this happen. When we start in August, the idea is to right away, as soon as that school year opens, get this information to the hands of the people at school who can put it on the website, who can put it on their bulletin boards. We are going to pass along a whole bunch of talking points to the interns and anybody else who will listen, really, so that they can get this information disseminated among the student's body. We'll also put together a Facebook page of the event so that we can put out some regular updates and hopefully keep it in everybody's mind. So we've consulted this Gantt chart with professionals just to make sure that it works the way we expect, and so far it seems that everything's going far really well. So this is our bottom-up estimate. This is how much we're going to kind of pay for our project. You can see that it's $768 for the first event. The reason why it's so high is because we're spending a lot of money on getting the equipment. We want to buy our own equipment so that we don't have to spend as much time setting it up. We want to be able to do this event more than once. After we get the equipment set up the first time, it's really easy to put it away and just set it up exactly the way after that. But we've also factored in some things. We want to buy quality power strips, ones with surge protection. We want to make sure that we don't cut any corners there because we don't want to be responsible for blowing up somebody's computer. But fortunately, we don't have to pay anybody. Everybody who's involved is a volunteer. And like I said, the interns are doing this as part of a class. We've already checked. We verified prices with local suppliers. We've also been able to talk with the school to figure out how that's going to work with the interns. They're basically paying the interns so we don't have to flip the bill. So we put together some planning. This is our layout of the event. You've got 2 rows of tables where you could get all of your computers and stuff set up. We've got 1 registration desk. We also determined that we're going to have cables coming off only on one side so that we don't end up having multiple trip hazards. And that area, for the most part, is going to be locked down. We want to mitigate the risk of people running around and accidentally hurting themselves. Part of our cost sheet also had on there that we're going to buy some tape to get that all taken care of so that it's not going to be a problem. We have planned for the fact that if we don't have all 7 interns show up, we could still do this with only a couple of facilitators. They could keep an eye on the whole event from one end. We've also tried to accommodate the setup. What we have available are 6-foot tables that can fit 2 kids each side by side with their equipment set up, and we're going to line those all up. It'll work. It'll fit really good. The gym space that we have reserved is really, really large. So In doing so far, we've actually covered a lot of risks in our project. We've actually looked at a whole lot more. Here's the risk evaluation sheet to show you that we've done our homework here to make sure that we're doing all of this right. And several of us are actually assigned to make sure that we don't have any further problems with this. Our highest risks, the top risks, are equipment failure, misconduct, and low attendance. We kind of determined that if equipment fails, the LAN party is essentially stopped. Misconduct, if people are misbehaving, if they get too excited in their games, or we basically have people with like hygiene concerns. These are all things that we kind of have to think of. And then low attendance, we can't make our money back on it unless we fill those seats. So here's what we've done. We have an engineer sign off an equipment check to make sure that equipment is working. The switch that we're going to buy has a lifetime warranty. We're going to have the equipment on there to be able to patch cables if we have to, and we can always reroute power if it ends up being a real problem. Our terms and conditions will be spelled out as soon as we get the registrations out. We want the kids to be able to know exactly what the rules are so that they don't break them, or if they do break them, they already know that the consequences, they won't be able to participate in the event. We're not going to refund money if they're breaking the terms and conditions. And then in order to fill those seats, we're going to start that event awareness. I've already mentioned we're going to get everybody on board as soon as the school year starts, and we're going to keep that Facebook running so that we get everybody checked in. We've determined that since our target audience is high schoolers, it's easier to get to them with social media, so that's also free. We won't have to put out a whole bunch of publications in the city to get their attention. So we're going to measure our success. We're going to follow up with these attendees. If they like the event, it's likely they're going to come back to the next one, and that's great. That makes it less work for us to be able to get them back on board, less work for us to find more people to fill those seats. We're going to report this to the school board. Obviously, they have a huge interest in this. They want to know and make sure that this was a big success, and they want to be well represented. If they feel like it was a good idea, we may even be able to bring them on board to help with more funding, and we may even be able to scale the project bigger. And then, of course, we're going to plan for that next event. So this whole thing, we're going to break even if we end up doing 3 subsequent events. We'll either have them yearly or we'll do them at different schools. Really depends. We're still kind of in talks about that, but it's going to be great. In conclusion, we've gotten this down. We want to maximize performance. We think it's a real sure idea. It's going to go through very, very, very well. We've thought about the costs. We've thought about the risks. We have people on board who are qualified. We have engineers, and we have a good relationship with the school district. The venue is secure, and our risks are minimized. Thank you for considering our project. We really hope that you give us the green light. Take care.